So you guys have been watching the channel for a while. First off, appreciate it. And you also know that the only thing I know anything about is the stuff behind me. And that's limited, right? So, on this episode of Pugliese Speed Shop, we figured we'd build a 90s mini truck. What could go wrong? Alright guys, so like we said, we're going to start to build on this 92 hardbody, right? Never plan on picking this thing up. Cruising the marketplace, like you guys saw in the other video. Came across it, smoking deal, clean little truck. I said, why not? And like I mentioned in the first video about this truck, this was the hype when I was in high school, right? Like everybody, well, except this guy, had a mini truck, they're slamming them, they're lifting them, they're doing whatever, right? It was a big thing, big systems, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't into any of that stuff. I'm really not, wouldn't say I'm into it now, but I like messing with stuff, I like messing with cheap stuff, and this guy's gonna check both of those blocks there, right? But I don't know what I'm doing. Like more than usual, right? So you're gonna see a couple things. RJ Davenport, right? He's a fellow squid, but he's got a channel. You guys check him out. Revamp Motorsports by RJ Davenport, and he's a Nissan guy. He's already given me some good advice about this. So if you like this truck or Nissan stuff, or check him out. On top of that, so he's giving me a little bit of advice of some ways to go with it. My buddy Luigi, you guys haven't met him yet. You heard about him. He's a big 240 guy, same motor. So I've been talking to him a lot. And let's see if we get him over here in the shop during the build. I figure why not. My plan, number one, I got everything I need to get running, right? Last time we saw it fired up, and Kevin already pointed out my editing. The gas tank appeared, and all of a sudden the truck started. Yeah, and it worked. So I got a fuel pump, I got a clutch master, and I got a clutch slave cylinder. That should be everything we need to get it running and driving. I mean, aside from some air in the tires and some gas in the tank, right? So that's what we're going to try and accomplish this video. So you'll see if it happens, because well, you're here. But on top of that, I'd like to kind of do some things that guys are talking about, possibly throwing a turbo, exhaust, intake, whatever, all that kind of stuff. The patina on this one, nah. We're probably going to do something about that. The wheels that are different sizes, yeah, we'll do some things there. So you guys that are more versed on this kind of stuff, leave a comment. Tell me things. I know there's six lugs. I know a lot of guys use Silverado or Escalade wheels or stuff like that. So if there's stuff that I don't know what I'm doing, which is probably the whole build other than the actual mechanics of making it run, let me know. Let me know. Throw it out there. Throw comments out there. Let me know. Help me bring you a better product. Something you'll also notice about this video, it's dark outside. And let's just say time management was not on my side. So the last video you guys saw, I got the winch put in and I was gonna drag the thing in there. Somewhere that train it came off the rails, right? We're trying to bring it back. So, usually, the phrase of the episode is quality tools. Today, time management is what needs to prevail here at Pugliese Speed Shop. So, all that in mind, this kind of ridiculousness and stuff you like checking out, go down there and click subscribe. And you'll get a notification. Oh, if you ring the bell too, then you'll get the notification of whenever we do something that makes 0 cents. Well, let's see how this works out. Well, guys, pretty sure you can hear that storm coming in. Yeah, I might be done for tonight since, you know, I left the truck outside. Time management got me again. But speaking of time management, while I was down here working, I was also on a live chat with my boy BW. So if you like 55 Chevy gassers, barn find Harleys, specifically special edition Dynas, and hanging out with guys that look like that, check them out. BW's Garage. Here we got another sticker over here. Sad news, that 55 gasser he's building. So check out his channel. And every Friday night he does a live where we talk about things we worked on, things we got to work on, being out riding, and stuff that we're going to get to someday. So yeah, Friday night, 8:30, bunch of like-minded dudes talking about cars and whatnot on BW's Garage. I'm going to stay down here and keep working because I ain't running back up to the house in this. I got to swim up there, I think. But yeah, you see she's off in the distance. So I think I'll just keep working down here, messing with this guy, and yeah, think about time management. All right, guys, next day, we took a beating in this storm last night. I'll tell you what, I got stuck down here for a while. Power went out, generator kicked on, all that kind of thing. And then we spent this morning up at the house trying to figure out why the AC quit working. I'm not an electrician, so I had Corey come here and wire these lights up because know your limits, secret to being good. But it was like a computer. We turned stuff off, back on, and started working. House is cooling off. Megan's happy, so that's good. So I'm back down here. And so the kid's back in town. Came back in this morning, which is good because, well, for a number of reasons. I like the guy. And this guy's got to get in the shop. You see it's not really lined up with the to get in the door there. So I'm going to put some air in these tires. He's going to come down here. I'm going to scoot the Le Mans out of the shop and see if this winch works. I'll find out. That's how it's done. Hopefully you got to see it all. What do you have, guys? Well, it works. Right, Andrew? Yeah. He's a man of few words, ladies and gentlemen. So, you saw I did my strawman imitation and pulled it the rest of the way in. It wasn't hard, obviously. But you can see why here. I want to show you. So That was the only problem, is everything was just kind of going that way. That's just because of the angle we brought the truck in on. Other than that, flawless execution. I threw this blanket over it just in case it did go like, it would actually go. So instead of buying like little thing they sell for like 40 bucks or whatever at the Harbor Freight, the movers left that when I got moved in here, so free. And here's the butchery we got going on over here. Like I said, I didn't want to put all this where it's going to go until we figured out that this is going to actually work, and it did. So now we'll mount it all. But you're going to like this. So yeah, so we got. At first, I didn't think I was going to need this ignition wire. Thought that was just for the, if it was in a ATV or whatever, but not true. You got to put some power to that. So we stuck it here, and yeah, that's hose clamps that's holding it on, because that's kind of wedged that in there. It's pretty nice. And then you know what's good for the goose, right? And then we got a little charge going. We're trying to keep her going there, because that's actually the battery out of this little beast right here. So well, you guys have it. I probably owe this to you like for a video or two now, but the winch works, and we're about to get on this guy. Right, dude?
Sure.
Man, a few words. All right, guys, so I just did a whole thing about this truck, and yeah, I didn't hit the record button, so we're going to do it again. So, 92 Hardbody in the shop, get some work done on it now. First two orders of business. Clutch pedal stuck on the floor, and the fuel pump is hanging out underneath the truck. So, well, there's a gas tank. That's why the fuel pump's hanging out. And there she is on the floor. So, that tells me that the slave cylinder is bad. And I knew this was out. I mean, I couldn't really miss it. Especially when you kind of look from the side over here, right? You're like, oh, yeah, that's not supposed to be there. Previous owner pulled it out, knew the fuel pump was bad, and then he said, forget about it, didn't want to work on it. Sold it to me. That became Chaz's problem. So, although I'm pretty sure this the clutch master cylinder right here, this little guy right there, that guy, pretty sure that's good, because it's holding fluid, there's no leaks, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a slave cylinder. However, notice how there's no, yeah. The cap's been off since I bought the truck. There was a piece of tin foil that was strategically placed on there. But I'm pretty sure that got all contaminated. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap it out. This is what you got to worry about when you do this kind of stuff. This guy right over here. Take it on the other side of the light, maybe that'll help out. Yeah, that little guy. So I doused it all with some PB Blaster, because you want to make sure this spins. You don't want, you start twisting this thing and this line, and you're screwed. Easy job just got hard. So we're going to swap them both out. Contamination, you know, I'm a hydraulics guy by trade, so yeah, don't want that. Here we go. No kidding, guys. This was like 12 bucks. The slave cylinder was like 9 bucks. So it just made sense to swap them both. And especially since, you know, I'm pretty sure there's contamination in there. And then we got the fuel pump and fuel filter. Because, well, when you see how got the old fuel tank in preservation, obviously, it was wide open. It had fuel in it when I went and picked the truck up. It did not smell good. It did not look good. So, yeah, this filter's probably a solid plan. All right, so now that I've walked around this truck and told you about all the stuff I was going to do twice now, because I'm an idiot, we'll actually do some work. Oh, well, let me bring underneath there first, and I'll show you what's going on with the slave cylinder. And maybe I can pull it out of there because it's already doused that too. All right, guys, here you go right here. Slave cylinder. See, I already doused the bolts and a little PB Blaster there. And like I said earlier, this is, I'm 99.9% sure it's what's wrong with the clutch.
But we learned our lesson with that Jeep that we should change everything involved, especially when it's another 10 or 12 bucks, right? So don't want to learn the same lesson twice. We'll screw something else up on this and we'll learn a lesson there, but this one we got figured out.
Alright guys, so it's a little easier to get from the passenger side here, and I mean, this is right here is where it was. So we got it out. Then it's just hanging by the hose now. So put that little PB blaster so we can get that off, and then swap it out. Alright guys, so we got her out. There's the new one, there's the old one. Raise your hand if you knew that without me telling you. Right. So obviously it's the same guy. So you push here, right? It takes a little bit of doing to get that done there, right? And you got this guy. So obviously, and then all this fluid leaks out, right? So the piston, the seal around this piston here for this plunger or whatever, that obviously has gone bad. So troubleshooting was correct, and that's the culprit. So we're going to put it back in, then swap that guy in there for the old one, then bleed the whole system, and we should have a working clutch after that. Alright guys, so we got the master out, and by looking, you see all that bare metal? So either this guy was leaking, or it was changed because it was leaking. So it's just .3 brake fluid you dump in this thing, right? And we know how corrosive it is, takes paint off, so it's obviously that was leaking there. Another little note, I took the washer fluid jug out of here because it was in the way, and we might replace it too, so it's just kind of falling apart. So we'll see how that works. But here we go with the clutch master. Old one, new one. Not as obvious as the other set, but so, and if you look here, this is all corroded on this, so it's a real good chance that this thing was leaking. It just wasn't as obvious. It worked because and it went. So, yep, it works. But like I said, we changed it either way. So here's the part you want to make sure these are sticking out. Well, there's a lot of play in this one compared to this one. Newer. So put it next to the eyeball it. I actually went above and beyond how I usually do, and I got a ruler and I measured it out, and they're the same. I use this side, but it actually has the numbers on it. Bam, bam. Good to go. Locked it down with the jam nut, and we're ready to put it back in. So there's all sorts of stuff, whether you bench bleed it or you bleed it later or whatever. Everybody's a critic, right? I'm going to throw it in here. I'm going to fill it full of fluid, and I'm going to crack the line on the bottom off of the slave cylinder and let it all gravity bleed overnight, and that is what I'm going to do. Is it the right way to do it? Is it the best way? I don't know. We're going to find out. Alright guys, so the master went in pretty easy. Just boop, right there against the firewall. Two 12mm bolts, and this little guy's a 10. Let me tell you what sucks about this little guy being a 10. I told you earlier how I sprayed it down with some stuff so it can make sure that the fitting spins and not the line. It did once it finally broke loose, but it was trying to strip. I do not have a 10mm line wrench. For those of you that don't know, here's a line wrench. See how it wraps around the outside there? It's close to a box wrench as you're going to get without having a box wrench, because obviously you can't use one on the line. So these things are awesome. You use them on brake lines religiously. This is what I had to use. Regular 10mm. Started stripping out. I was trying to strip out, but I wouldn't let it. Got the big dog, crimped him on there, and got it off and broke it loose with that. Then I was able to go back to the 10 millimeter and put it back on with the 10 millimeter. I didn't put it on with the vice grips there. So before you guys think I'm a total hack, yeah, whatever. But so be careful with that. That's something that can definitely happen. So now that that's there, we just got to take this little pin and this little clip, get off there, and go put them inside the truck where they bolt into the clutch. Well, they don't bolt in because it's a pin, it's not a bolt. I've already said that, man. So that's where it goes, and then I'll put you down because, let's see here. That's the brake. That just falls right in, right? So, right up in there, I don't know if you can see it or not, where the clutch pivots, that's where it goes in. So I'm going to do that. I can't do that holding you guys. Alright guys, you can see I moved some things up in here. So I'm wiggling the clutch right now. So you see that pivot point where the rod comes through the firewall? That's where we just hooked up. If you go back in the video about 20 seconds, you'll see that that thing is actually sitting next to it. So I had to finagle a little bit, not a big deal. Good to go. And so yeah, we're going to fill it up and start pumping up on it a little bit. Alright, so all I did so far, I filled this thing up, and it's super clean fluid, so you can't see it, but it's at the max line. And then came in here, right, and just did this a whole bunch of times, 10 or 20 times, right, something like that. And then look at that, it's already getting the pedal. Now granted, yeah, it's gonna be spongy as can be, but then I came back over here and it had sucked it down. So it wasn't, you gotta make, when you do that, make sure you don't let it go dry. That's the worst thing, because then you just introduce some more air. Topped it off again, came back over here, and then a whole bunch more times, right? So we're already better than we were. So I'm gonna crack that line, let it sit overnight. We're gonna be all right. All right, guys. So I'm gonna end the video here just because a couple reasons. Number one, I like to leave on a high note, and getting those two parts in there, getting the clutch bled down a little bit, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about it, you know. And on top of that, I gotta clean this thing out before I started putting stuff in there because it was sitting out and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know what I'm in for over here. I really don't. And it's getting a little late, and Megan made some sausage and peppers that not on. So yeah, trying to get it over there, get some of that. So that's where we're gonna leave it. But I think it's a pretty good video, right? We got to see the winch get used. It's still there, I promise you. Look at this guy. There she is, here, sneaking out over there. Kid's home, got to see him put a little work in. I don't ever get tired of seeing him put a little work in. And now you know how to change a clutch, master cylinder, and a slave cylinder. So most of you guys probably know how to do that. And there's probably 100 videos on how to do that. But I appreciate you guys watching this video. So tune in next week where we'll probably get some fuel through this thing. And well, see what happens after that. You never know, right? So make sure you guys are liking, sharing, subscribing, ring the bell, tell a friend, and as always, thanks for watching, guys.